What's up, gamers? Welcome to Right Gamer. Today we're going to be doing another video, part 2 of the video I released earlier today where we talk about Phil Spencer's interview. That one was kind of focused a little bit around Redfall and, of course, my overall thoughts of the interview, the questions that were asked in regards to Redfall. Now we're going to jump on the next controversy surrounding this particular interview, and we're just going to actually watch a clip. That way you can actually hear it from the horse's mouth. You probably have seen people talk about this. Basically, Phil Spencer's thoughts and opinions in regards to competing with the competition.
Well, we'll definitely continue to focus on making our console experience as great as it can be. I like the homepage refresh and some stuff. I will say, this might be disruptive as well. We have a different vision. You know, Paris talked about this. It's play the games you want with the people you want anywhere you want. We want Xbox to be something that people who buy our console can feel like they're a member of. Obviously, who are playing on PC, who are playing on cloud, that they feel like they're full members of our ecosystem. Game Pass players can play on many different devices, and we remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, very, very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that will that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else. Our vision is that everybody who's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first-class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform. But we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games. So when you go and you're building on Xbox, we want our Xbox community to feel awesome. But this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people. Like 90% of the people every year who walk into a retailer to buy a console are already a member of one of the three ecosystems. And their digital library is there. This is the first generation where the big games that they're playing were games that were available last gen. When you think about Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, like the continuity from generation to generation is so strong. I see a lot of pundits out there that kind of want to go back to the time where we all had cartridges and discs and every new generation was a clean slate and you could switch the whole console share. That's just not the world that we are in today. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen.
Here's my rebuttal. First off, as a gamer who mostly plays on the PlayStation ecosystem, this includes multi-platforms. Usually multi-platform games I get on the PlayStation ecosystem, and then if I really like that particular game, if it's a multi-platform, I will also purchase it on the PC ecosystem, Steam. Here is the thing. We travel back in time to the PlayStation 3 generation, all right? I did not own a 360. I had no reason to own a 360. We could even jump further back into the Xbox and the PlayStation 2 generation, all right? Once again, that's another generation where I purchased multi-platforms on the PlayStation. And that's because I had no reason to get an Xbox. When you look out the amount of exclusives on the Xbox in comparison to the PlayStation 2, there was not a whole lot that interested me. Now, there would have been technically Fable. Now, I mean, this is Fable 2, but there would have been Fable. And that was a game I was just unfamiliar with in the sense that I really didn't know. I probably heard about it, but I didn't decide to research it or anything. And if I had, I would have went out of my way and got an Xbox even for that one particular game because I like RPGs. When we jump all the way to the 360 era, The only reason why I picked up a 360 is because I saw a trailer for Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon. Now, these are both JRPGs, and whether you think they're good or bad games is irrelevant to the point I'm attempting to make here. And that is that I went out of my way to get a 360 because I wanted to play these games. Why? Because they were exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. We jump into a more modern age, and yes, of course, this eventually led me to actually pick up this game, and then eventually I would pick up the Anniversary Edition, which I think I have somewhere. I just didn't grab it. Edition, and again, exclusive is what we're getting at here. Then we jump into a more modern age. So like Skyrim, The Outer Worlds, Prey, Fallout, Dishonored. Those are all games that I originally owned on the PlayStation ecosystem. But when Microsoft purchased Bethesda and all of its subsidiary companies, and even the main company that actually owned all of them, I was like, well, they're clearly going to be doing some exclusives. I guarantee you, and that's exactly what they announced that they were going to do. So I went and I started buying these games on the Xbox ecosystem. So again, it's not about new or great games per se trying to outsell Nintendo or PlayStation. I think, to me, from what I gather from the different arguments in regards to what he's talking about, has never been about good games, but exclusive games. The biggest hindrance to the Xbox ecosystem is the lack of exclusives. Now, I don't really think that Xbox or Microsoft should attempt to compete with Nintendo. They're the juggernaut of good and exclusive games. Again, the word good being subjective, but I digress. But they easily could compete with PlayStation. There is absolutely no reason that Xbox ecosystem could not compete in terms of exclusive games to their system. I don't know the statistics or the number, I'll admit that, but there is clear evidence, I would say, that there are people out there that will go and purchase a console even for just one or two games because they have an interest in it. Not to mention that, could, like what he mentioned, that, Starfield is 11 out of 10. There's still the possibility that it could get people to purchase an Xbox. The probability of that is what is really a variable. Whether it's possible or impossible is irrelevant because it's possible, but it just comes down to the probability of it. So that's my only counter argument for the direct ideology of new good games won't sell a console. That is definitely debatable, and you'd have to more or less prove that from actual statistics and whether or not the amount would be something that is viable from the corporate or business perspective, which I doubt it would be. All right, there's no denying that. But overall, to pretty much sum up this video, it's not about brand new games outdoing Nintendo or PlayStation. It's about exclusive games. And I think overall, the Xbox ecosystem does have what it needs to compete with the PlayStation ecosystem in terms of exclusives. But for some reason, Microsoft and the Xbox ecosystem itself has never really dove that well into that part of gaming that is pretty prevalent in the PC, Nintendo, and PlayStation ecosystems in terms of having exclusive games. Again, debatable if any of those games are good or bad. Anyway, that's just my thoughts and opinions and the facts that I ultimately bring to rebuttal Mr. Spencer's response to this particular question in regards to this interview. Hope you enjoyed the video in some fashion or form. I'll see you on the next one. Not literally, metaphorically.